This is a summary of the 5th season of Debbie and Carrie, The Next Generation. After paying a visit to the town in East Texas they lived in as teens, including eating at the Tuscany Tavern, Debbie and Carrie have a discussion about James, Debbie's brother, who died of the flu pandemic a few years earlier. Debbie showed Carrie footage of her and Carrie both dying together decades in the future, and she then argues that regardless of how long they live, James should outlive them because he was younger. Debbie and Carrie, along with Richard and Diana, board the USS Sandy, taking with them a sample of the vaccine developed to end the pandemic. They then travel back in time to the year 2025. Debbie then meets with James of that year and injects him with the vaccine so that he will not die of the flu pandemic and instead live longer. So once again, history has been changed. After returning to her native time, Debbie has a discussion about politics with James, who is indeed still alive in the altered timeline. And they learn that Rush Scumbaugh Jr., son of the notorious political commentator that caused their mother so much trouble half a century ago, has decided to use his celebrity status to run for president. Debbie, thinking that the son is as bad as the father, decides to run for president to oppose him. Ironically, while James got to live longer, Carrie learns that her sister Vicky has died of a massive stroke that destroyed her brainstem, a condition no vaccine could have prevented. So she must mourn that loss anyway, along with Dr. Paul Jenkins, Vicky's husband. Paul becomes one of Debbie's political advisors and convinces her that a policy of socialized medicine, making private ownership of hospitals and other medical institutions and health insurance companies illegal, will stop corruption in American medicine. So Debbie adopts that policy as the primary part of her platform. Debbie also adopts 2 campaign slogans to promote her candidacy: America for All, referring to her political beliefs being totally inclusive, and We Remember, referring to the importance of learning from history to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. To promote her campaign, Debbie and Carrie move back to the Smith/Wilson mansion at the edge of the town in Texas and establish the America for All News Network, an internet-based news podcast. The podcast is produced from 2 studios, one in Texas and the other in Los Angeles, run by Suzanne Hudson and Laura Park. As Rush Scumbaugh Jr., RSJ for short, begins a series of rallies to attract followers to his campaign. Debbie plans to do the same, after convincing Jason Laker to come out of retirement to work as an anchor for the America for All network. One of Jason's first reports is on the breakup of the town's largest church, which was originally Southern Baptist, then became Unitarian Universalist, and finally joined a Liberal Baptist denomination. The 3 factions in the church fought so bitterly that they ended up firing their own minister over the conflicts. Jason then interviews the minister at the Tuscany Tavern over the matter, and she regrets the choices she made that caused the church to fall apart. Debbie accepts an invitation by Laura to attend a meeting of the Association of LGBT Actors. And there Debbie formally announces her candidacy, making the audience extremely happy to have a champion for their interests. Meanwhile, the President of the United States meets with President Eklos of the Sabari Planetary Republic to discuss a trade deal, including mining rights in the solar system's asteroid belt. But RSJ opposes such a deal, claiming it is a threat to human interests, reminding his followers of the Sabari once trying to steal the planet Mars from humanity. Debbie now creates a website, www.debbiesmithforpresident.com. She also joins up with Suzanne Hudson, who has recorded and released a new rock album, and they tour together with them singing together and Debbie also giving speeches as an opening act. RSJ gains a new ally, Daniel Watson, despite Watson having served with Debbie and traveling to the Sabari homeworld before and during its recent civil war. Watson is still a Republican and sees supporting RSJ as a matter of loyalty to his party. The President of the United States decides to endorse Debbie to be her immediate successor. But this move infuriates her own Vice President, Walter Scoob, and he secretly gives support to RSJ instead, in exchange for Scumbaugh making him his Secretary of State if he wins. Scoob then has a debate with Debbie over the issues related to the Democratic nomination for president, but is unable to discredit her. RSJ then takes matters into his own hands, going to confront Debbie directly, reminding her that a lesbian activist assassinated his father many years ago, and he wants to avenge his father by defeating Debbie. Debbie refuses to back down, and her faith in the voters is rewarded when she wins the first primary over her Democratic rivals, including the vice president, much to his outrage. Debbie then hires Whitney Owen to be her campaign manager, only to be shot a few weeks later while at a rally in Chicago. Because of the threat made against her by RSJ, he is the prime suspect. Carrie, worried that Debbie may die, flies to Chicago to see her. Fortunately, Debbie survives the shooting with the bullet missing her heart and only damaging one of her lungs. The gunman is soon arrested and reveals himself to be Fred Owen, who shot Debbie to avenge his family's past defeats. Once Fred learns that Debbie will make a full recovery, he dies by suicide, hanging himself in his jail cell. The assassination attempt gives Debbie a massive surge in popularity. Meanwhile, supporters of Debbie march in Dallas, including Richard, Diana, Michael Jefferson and Charles McKenzie, only to have the march disrupted by angry homophobes. Debbie continues to win Democratic primaries and eventually the party's nomination itself, a total humiliation of Vice President Scoob. But Rush Scumbaugh Jr. is actually pleased. He thinks the general public will never elect Debbie even if Democratic activists support her, so he assumes now we will win the general election in a few months. But Daniel Watson, who is managing RSJ's campaign, has discovered some things about it that convinces him Scumbaugh is untrustworthy to lead America, unlike Debbie. Watson then meets with Debbie and gives her a list of Scumbaugh's campaign donors, including various companies based in foreign countries like China, Russia, and Arab states, contradicting his claim to oppose foreign intervention in American internal affairs. Debbie then publishes that list on her own campaign website. This revelation causes an uproar that badly damages Scumbaugh's credibility, at least among hardcore conservatives. Debbie, now more confident of victory, invites Suzanne Hudson to be her running mate in the election and she accepts. RSJ counters this by inviting an older woman, Senator Ophelia Mason, to be his own running mate, hoping more women will vote for him as a result. Debbie finally has the chance to debate RSJ publicly. And then Suzanne debates her Republican counterpart. And in both cases, the Republican side is busted. In the end, Debbie finally triumphs over RSJ. The election is close, but certain. And while Debbie and her relatives and supporters celebrate their victory, Rush Scumbaugh Jr. vows to do what he can to oppose what Debbie wants to do as president, a clear example of being a sore loser. And so ends the 5th season of Debbie and Carrie, The Next Generation.